Richard Mason.
Hello.
Welcome to the Grind Diaries.
Thank you. You know, the way my head works, instead of doing a little bit by bit, I want to do it all and I want to do it all now. I think that taught me to grow up quite a lot. You know, stop chasing the jobs, shop, chasing the cars. I'm up to 11 failed suicide attempts, drug abuse, alcohol abuse. I was homeless for a bit. I was living in my car. You know, I had no home. I was on my arse. I had 2 failed marriages all through it. So I was always, them thoughts going, oh, shit, you're rubbish, you're useless. And I remember a teacher who was telling me that I'd amount to nothing, you're worthless. That was in year 8. And then them sort of things always stuck. And you know, I stopped the fighting because it hurts getting it now, doesn't it? Let's face it.
It does.
It hurts. I stopped the drugs because I wouldn't be the woman I am now. And I wouldn't be the dad I am now. I put him around the metal girder around my neck. No, that was it. I had enough. I was literally, I'm done. The next day you're tired of lethargic. Next day you wake up, oh, I'm fresh, and then it comes again, and it's just waves. Yeah.
We'll obviously get into the detail of, your journey and all the rest of it, but just kind of want to touch on the successes that you've had that have been, that you're quite open about. So, you know, you've had some pretty serious mental health struggles that we'll delve into a little bit. A massive weight loss journey that you've gone through. So again, we'll delve into that. Appearances on MasterChef, and now, you know, kind of battling through all of those situations and becoming the owner of your own restaurant, which is really cool.
Yeah, scary, exciting, but yeah, cool.
Yeah, wicked. So do you want to just kind of tell us a little bit about what it is you do, and maybe a little bit about the restaurant that you're kind of in the process of?
Yeah, sure. So obviously I've been a chef now for 25 years, fell into it by accident. Just left Cornwall, where I was inside a restaurant there, which was really good, and then moved back up to Surrey. And yeah, opening one up in the middle of a park in Horsham, which didn't ever want to do, but here I am.
Amazing. So what prompted that? Prompted you get in that particular place?
So I always said that I wanted to stop chefing at 40. You know, it's a hard industry to be into. And then me and my partner, we went for lunch in this lovely cafe, I guess you can call it, in the park, and got speaking to the owner. And then they asked me if I'd like to come in and do some work for them behind the scenes. And then a conversation led that I accepted to purchase the place without Joe knowing. And then, yeah, here we are, waiting for the keys.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. So you got big plans and all that for the place. I mean, what are you going to do with it? Are you going to change anything, or are you just going to try and keep it the same?
So at the moment, it's beautiful. Like, the previous owners have done it gorgeous. But upstairs, it's got planning permission for a 2-bed Airbnb, so it's a Grade 2 listed building. So that'd be converted. Outdoors, planning permission for an outdoor kitchen. I'd love to do Christmas markets. I want to put an ice rink outside for Christmas. You know, my brain just doesn't stop. You know, if you think, when you've been doing a job for so many years and you see different aspects going forward on your journey, you know, you try to take little bits from everywhere, and then, you know, the way my head works, instead of doing a little bit by bit, I want to do it all, and I want to do it all now. So sometimes, I need reining in a bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, big, exciting plans. Yeah,
I know the feeling though. It's it can be quite mentally draining, can't it, to have all these ideas and not really know how to process them and know what to do with them, or want to do everything at once and just not having the capacity to do it.
Yeah, I mean, Jo's exactly the same, like, and she always tells me, like, write it all down. No, I've never written anything down in my life, you know. I can't work, like, even if I'm in the kitchen prepping, my prep lists in my head. You know, as soon as you start putting on board, I'm literally staring at this and someone is just throwing all the words up in the air and I can't read my own writing. So to have all them thoughts 24/7 in your head, like, I need to do this. So really, if I was more like her or more like normal people, it'd be like, right, phase 1, get the keys.
Yeah.
My phase 1 is get keys, move bar, open the kitchen up, do this, do that. You know, so it's about, I'm learning, it's a process. You know, and being with her has really helped me just to kind of like take the level down a little bit. So the more thought goes into the preparation, the more you get out of it. You know, you can prep 100 things at once, but if you focus on 10 things, they're going to be the best. Yeah. So yes.
It is definitely a difficult process, and I definitely sympathise with you because, you know, I kind of go through the same. And the problem I find is that I want to do everything at once, and I want to do 100 things, and I realise I can't do 100 things, and I can't do them at once, so I end up not doing any of them.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like you say, you need to kind of just prioritise, find the the key tasks, and just crack on with them, and just keep the other ones in the back of your mind for later on.
I'm my own worst enemy though, because I want to do them 100 things and I want to do it now. And if I do 99 of them, I don't look at the 99 and think, oh, just look what I've done. I've looked at that one, go, that one just beat me. Why why have I not been able to do the 100?
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, like you say, it is about prioritising them, the more important ones first. But yeah, no, because I've been waiting for the key since January we started this process, and I was in there every day, either on the laptop helping them or secretly going, I'll put a bar over there, I'll change that and I'll change that. You know, they're already there and they should be happening. But yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah, amazing. Well, I wish you all the best, and definitely coming down for lunch once it's all gone through. What is your definition of success?
So this is a question that I asked myself once I was listening to a couple of yours, because I've never really reflected without knowing that I had. And my vision of success was always that leave school, get the best car going. You know, I was jealous of even like a couple of the other lads' cars. You know, when we all went through that max power stage, I wanted that.
Yeah.
To me, that was success. You know, chasing the dream job. I was quite fortunate that when I fell into chefing, I was always good at it. Some of my other chefs might say I wasn't, but you know. So I've always chased the next big job. I've always checked the big salary, the big house, you know, and the big car. And then lockdown happened, and I was down at Lusty Glaze where I was working on the beach, and I was just sat there. And the ops manager, Andy, was living on the beach because he had to look after the place. So, you know, and he was walking across the beach with his partner, Rachel, and their 2 kids, just hand in hand, kids running. And I was just like, all these years I've wasted chasing the money, chasing the jobs, when really right there, that's, for me, hit home that is success. You know, that is everything that a lot of people aim for, but for some reason I never saw it. So going back, what's that, 6-7 years now, the first lockdown, I guess, my whole vision of success changed. So for me, it's being that strong family man that the children don't want for anything, the house is looked after, and the family are happy, the extended family are happy. I think that taught me to grow up quite a lot. You know, stop chasing the jobs, shops, chasing the cars. I never had a good car, still to this day. But yeah, do you know what I mean? So like over time, it's changed. So yeah, being that strong family man that people can rely on, and when you look back, going, "Oh, I've done a good job." Yeah, I think that's my vision of success, and it's strange how it's changed.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of a reoccurring theme, though. To be honest, the conversations I've had on this podcast have kind of brought that to life. That your definitions definitely change as you grow up. And I think as men, we put a lot of pressure on ourselves as well, don't we? You know, there's a lot of pressure on us as, or we put a lot of pressure on ourselves to have the nice car. At a younger age, we want to have the nice car, or we want to have the big house, because we see that as the reputable thing. Yeah. And then as you get older, like you say, the success element turns to, well, I need to keep this family happy. I need to keep a roof over their head. And, and all of that, I guess, we put a lot of pressure on ourselves to obtain that and then maintain that.
Yeah, I think personally growing up, when you're in that year 10, year 11 at school, and then you see the older lads driving past you, like, growing up for me, it was always one of the lads, Tony, that had the luminous yellow Orion, all blacked out windows. I was just like, wow, he must be so rich, 30-year-old car. And then, like you say, sometimes something little just clicks inside you, and you actually, one day you're thinking, should I go get this? I've got money in the bank, or, might need to go get him some new school shoes or her some new clothes. And, well, that's more important than that. And the more you focus what's right in front of your face and stop chasing that distant dream. It's good to have dreams, we've all got them. But, yeah, just the little things. And for me, it was just sitting down on the wall, cup of tea on the beach, seeing Andy and his family. And I guess I owe him so much gratitude for that moment. You know, we've had many drunken nights at work when I've told him about it. And it's just, that little thing just clicked. And if I hadn't stopped painting the restaurant and sat on the wall, then I wouldn't have saw it. And would I then carried on chasing the next job and the next dream and the next house? So, we do put a lot of pressure to be perfect.
Yeah.
I think.
And then with your mind working at 1,000,000 miles an hour and you wanting to do the 100 things at once, how do you mentally process and find the time to focus on the family and focus on the things that do really matter?
That's a hard one. So my family suffer, massively. I'm quite fortunate that my daughter's mum, obviously she still lives in Cornwall. I've got a beautiful, beautiful daughter called Emily, who's 12 now. I left that family unit when she was 1, because I wanted to, I wanted the next big job, and that was in Birmingham. And unfortunately, mine and her mum's relationship broke down, all down to me. Her mum's perfect. She's one of my best friends. But I moved to Birmingham. I wanted to chase that next dream, and although Emily was only 1 at the time, I would do a week's service. I'd only have 1 day off. So I'd leave Birmingham at 4 a.m, drive down, see Emily for the day, drive home, back to work. And that's not me going, look at me, I'm an amazing dad. I'm not. I beat myself up daily because obviously I left that home. So this industry and this job and my head, my family suffer loads. Her mum's picked me up 1,000,000 times since me and her split up, where she hasn't needed to. It's all about keeping your family in the loop. Mm-hmm. My daughter's great. Like, when she was staying with us last time, I was just really quiet, just sat in the room. And if I'm quiet, everyone knows there's something wrong. If I'm not singing, laughing, joking, and she come up to me, she goes, bad head today, Dad? Like, she's 12. Like, she shouldn't understand it. It's like, yeah, a little bit. She went, all right. And she just walked off. I was just like, okay. So she's noticing. And she came back in with a cup of tea. And she's like, there you go. And just walked off. And, as much as they suffer, they can see it as well. Mm. And then that snapped me out, almost like that beach. Little triggers, and then back to the laughing, joking, pain in the arse person that I am. So, yeah.
Yeah, so you say your family suffer.
Yeah.
Like, is that because that, you don't feel as if you're there for them enough? Or what do you mean by that they suffer?
Yeah, so suffer in a way of, like, anyone. So say, even yourself, if you're out of the house for 12, 13, 14 hours a day, they're going to miss you. They're going to get used to missing you, if that makes sense. It's a parents' evening. My dad lives 200 miles away. Or it's a family get-together. Oh, my dad's working. And that's what I mean, like, the hospitality industry, it's relentless. It's not forgiving. It's not family-friendly. It's, I'm in that kitchen doing a deep clean at 4 a.m. because my head won't switch off. But yeah, I'm still doing breakfast, lunch, dinner service, and then clean down at the end. So even, when Emily was really young, I'd be up before she woke up and I'd be home when she went to bed. And then I guess, on relationships like that, I think your partner, unless they're understanding, they get used to missing you. And then if they get used to missing you for a long period of time, everything starts questioning. Then, okay, yeah, I love him, or this, but he's never here. So yeah, families suffer in that way. So you've got to have a really understanding partner, or one that doesn't really like you that much, and likes the peace and quiet.
Yeah. I mean, like, from your daughter's perspective, though,
yeah.
Does she know any different?
Yeah. So what was quite rare is I'm on really good talking terms with probably all my exes. I say all of my exes, there hasn't been that many, Jesus. Serious relationships. And I asked Michelle a question last night. Told her I was coming on here, and she was like, okay. And then I sent a message, which I'll go into in a bit, and she sent me back this message going, it was massive. She never sends me big messages, but what was it? She said, Emily never sees you as a failure, and you've never failed Emily. If anything, she thinks the sun shines out of your ass, and then in brackets, which really pisses me off. So no, I think now she's at that age where she understands it. You know, when I was on MasterChef, her mum rang me and went, Emily's crying at the telly going, that's my dad. You know, so that was brilliant. So I think, no, she doesn't know different, but she understands it. Like, we FaceTime almost every night when she answers, you know. I had a FaceTime her last night, told her what I'm doing. She went, cool. I'm just like, brilliant. You all right? She went, yeah, tired. You know, so no, you know, now we're in this modern age of technology, I don't think, you know, she's got a brilliant home life. You know, Michelle's partner, absolutely phenomenal with her. You know, when they first got together, I was just like, no, I don't like another man with my daughter. And then you've got to look at yourself and go, well, you're not there. You know, I couldn't wish for anyone better to step in. So no, you know, FaceTime every night. She kicks my butt when we play Fortnite and stuff like that. And we always go away on family holidays, which we've never done, you know. So yeah, it's good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I say, do they get used to it? I think not the same level, but when I was young, my dad was a long distance lorry driver.
Yeah.
So whilst him and my mum maintained a really good and healthy relationship, and they still have now, he would go away for sometimes weeks at a time.
Yeah.
You know, I remember he went, I think he went on tour with Michael Jackson and was like away for like 7 weeks.
Yeah.
And I just, I remember missing my dad, but I never suffered, if that makes sense. Like it was more, and then, yeah, it was more just like, I could see that mum was missing him and all the rest of it, but we never sort of looked at it as suffering, and as you get older, you look and you reflect and you go, God, that guy did all of that just so that we could,
have a roof.
And you sort of, and I guess your daughter's at that kind of age now where she's beginning to understand that as well.
Yeah, I'm lucky. She, like I say, she's 12 going on 20. She's very switched on, which is good. But she comes up and stays with us all the time. There is that big distance. She loves it. So yeah, when she comes up, we do all the family stuff. Probably what I wouldn't have been able to do 5-6 years ago because I was just work. But now it's more like, right, Emily's here. I'm not working every day. I'm not working every night. Owen, Joe's lad, and Amber, they love doing things like we go bowling, do the escape rooms. Amber comes to football, Emily comes to football, and it's that blended family. Right, let's go out and do this, let's go out and do that. So yeah, no, I think now she's at that age where, right, you working today, sweet, I'll go out and do this with Joe. So yeah, that helps, having that other person.
Yeah, it feels like you've kind of found a bit of a balance there for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I try my hardest to have that work-life balance, but I know as soon as I get the keys for the restaurant, well, I'll see you in 6 months.
Yeah.
Just throw some food at me now and then.
Yeah. Nice. Okay. Well, look, there's loads of stuff that I want to kind of get into, like knowing a little bit about your journey and how you've kind of got through life. So do you want to take us back to kind of where it all started, what challenges you got through and how you basically ended up, on the verge of owning your own restaurant in a beautiful park in just south of London?
Yeah, okay. So we'll go way back, but we won't go in, So for me, my home life, and I spoke to my dad about this the other day, he asked me to try and understand a little bit, so I sent him a really long message. So my home life, growing up, amazing. We didn't have a lot. My dad was scaffolding, our job, always has done. He only gave it up a couple of years ago, he's an old boy now. My mum was working in school and then was a special needs assistant in the school. So grafters, and I've always sort of brought that up. I think for me, going through school, I was a little bugger. We all were. But for me, it was all about that. I want to be the centre of attention. I want to be the louder than life. I want to be, if that one person pushes into me, I want to react first, just so people go, oh, did you see that? And for me, I carry that all through my life. But really, I'm the most shy, insecure person. That was all just a front, to try and mask quite a lot of hidden stuff that was going on. And then, I've suffered, you touched on it badly earlier, I've suffered bad mental health issues. A lot of people, I think these days, say they've got issues and everything. I'm talking, and I'm not saying it because mine's better than yours and stuff like that. I'm talking, I'm up to 11 failed suicide attempts, drug abuse, alcohol abuse. I was homeless for a bit. I was living in my car. I had no home. I was on my arse. I've had 2 failed marriages all through it. So it's just how deep you want to dive into it. I mean, I'm an open book. I openly talk about it, probably to the point that some people go, oh, here he goes again. But for me, if one person sees it, and one person will go, oh, can I talk to you? Then, as far as I'm concerned, I've done my little bit, and that one person might be in a better place.
It's important, isn't it? I mean, let's go back to what kind of started it all? What kind of led to these, or what do you think led to these issues?
So for me, I describe it as a snow globe. Do you remember them ornaments your nan probably had on the side at Christmas? So for me, I am that fixed object, and it could all be nice and settled for 11 months of the year until Christmas, until little kid comes and shakes it. So if you imagine the snow globe, you're that fixed person, and then when you shake it, you have millions of snowflakes going around and around and around. For me, that's my thoughts. It's so tiring being that extra loud person where all you want to do is be that person sat at home, feet up, watching EastEnders, even at 16. Do you know what I mean? All my mates used to come out for school. Oh, Richie, nah. My mum and my sister used to go, no, he's already out. Oh, okay. I was upstairs, mate, watching Emmerdale, Coronation Street and EastEnders when you used to have them all on. I love that life, And all them thoughts, I've never liked anything about myself. Not one thing, I always say, when you meet a girl, you've got to find that one thing, it might be a big toe. There's never anything about myself that I liked. So I was always, them thoughts going, oh, you're shit, you're rubbish, you're useless. And I remember a teacher who was telling me that I'd amount to nothing, you're worthless. That was in year 8. And then them sort of things always stuck. And then, I'm not blaming him because them thoughts were already there. But then when you're so hard on yourself, you're going back earlier when you said about we all want to do them 100 things. In my head, I just want to feel normal. I want these thoughts to stop. I want actually someone to say, you're all right. And don't get me wrong, my mum, my dad, my sister, my brother always used to. But yeah, them thoughts are always you might as well no one's going to miss you. Just finish whatever. And I think the earliest stage that I ever thought that, I was 13, sat in my home, and I can't remember what happened, but something triggered it. I went to the bathroom, got a razor, and went, oh no, that hurts. I think it was a cut about that big, and I was like, no, that hurts, stop it, what are you doing? Snapped out of it, and then went fishing. And yeah, so my earliest memory of having these thoughts was easily 13. And it wasn't until last year that I got diagnosed with ADHD, which doesn't mean much. But when I look back going, haha, that's why I'm always a million miles an hour. But them thoughts have always been there. I've done counselling, I've done life coaching, happy pills, and they don't stop. And I always then try and find something else to take away that. So even at school when I get in a scrap, it was never because I wanted to hurt that person. Normally I'd go find them and apologise. It was right, if I get hit, then them thoughts will stop for a minute. I go, oh, that actually hurts. It gives me something else to focus on. And then when I left school, I was in Southampton for a couple of years and then moved down to Cornwall for the summer and then back. I was always going out, getting in a fight, normally at football. And then I realised that, and I'm not saying it because I think I'm this big macho man, because I'm really not. I was actually quite good at taking a punch and throwing a punch. And then that wasn't numbing them thoughts. I was getting hit, saying I was still thinking, oh, you're shit. And then when I was getting hit, I was just, oh, you're even rubbish as this. Why are you still alive? So that took me into experimenting with all the different drugs and everything else. And, I hit that hard. At one point, I was 400 or 500 quid a week, and then that wasn't numbing it. So then I started drinking. I remember when I was 17, living in a caravan down in Cornwall. And I'd run out of milk for my breakfast and I just poured neat vodka in it and ate cornflakes with my vodka, and it was, it's not a nice taste. And I had a shop Like, I literally opened a business at 17, a fishing tackle shop. And it got to the point where the customers would come, let themselves in my caravan, step over me, get the keys, open up, and just leave the money on the side. And I knew then, this isn't working. Okay, let's go back to everything else, the chemicals, and let's go back out, nuclear when I was 18. I'd literally empty the till at night, go to the club, could have 300-400 quid in my pocket, come home with nothing, a black eye, stinking hangover. But it would stop them thoughts. And then people was like, why don't you get help? It's not as easy as that, I put my dad on a pedestal. My dad is, for me, he's my hero. Same as my sister, she's a paramedic. All my family are, I'm not alienating any of them. But my dad's a big, tough scaffolder, that reputation of he'll chew your window off and stuff like that. And it wasn't until I opened up to him, I think at the last footy match that me and him went to, that it was you could have told me that years ago, Rich. And I sent the same message to my mum, because my dad's they're at that mindset of they don't understand it, the whole mental health, but they shouldn't have to understand it, I feel personally, because when they were younger, we probably wouldn't understand. Like now, there's all this new stuff coming out, which I'm quite, I don't understand, like pronouns and stuff like that, each to their own. I don't understand it, and I'm trying to understand it, because I think everyone has to involve. But I saw that glint in my dad's eye, and I was just like, fucking hell, I could have told you this years ago. But you don't want to disappoint.
There's a stigma to it, isn't there?
Yeah.
Like you said, you want to be this big macho man, and you don't want to admit that you're feeling like that, because you feel like it weakens you as a person.
Yeah, definitely. When I moved up north in the end, I went and lived with Dave Loic and his partner. Beautiful. Angie's gorgeous. And his sister drove me up there, because I think just a passerby had found me. So the attempted suicide attempts, like I say, 11, probably 5, 6 of them were just cries for help. I'd done everything. Nobody's listened to me. But this one time when they found me was, I had a noose. I walked, literally, and I was a fat boy back then. I didn't like walking. Do you know what I mean? And I walked into the middle of nowhere. Nobody could find me, and this dog walker found me. And I was just like, why did you walk that way? And he was like, my dog ran off. And I was just like, fuck. And then, because I've had so many failed attempts in my head again, it was just like, you're rubbish, you couldn't even do that. So I moved and lived with Dave for a bit, and that sorted me out a little bit. And then I came home, went back down to Cornwall for the next summer job, met this other girl, won't say her name, she destroyed me in the end. Moved to Lancaster, and me and her split up almost straight away. She lived in South Eastleigh with us for a bit. Mum hated her. You should have listened to your parents when you're growing up. And then I moved up there. We split up literally the day I took her up there. It was all planned for her. And I had nothing. My pride had took such a beating. I went homeless for just under 4 months. Don't get me wrong, I lived in the back of my car in the car park in the middle of Lancaster, and it's not a great place to live. And that was because I was too proud to come home. I was too proud to ring my dad or my mum and say, look, I've got no money for fuel. I've got nothing. I literally got the suitcase of my clothes. And I said that to Dad the other week, and he was just like, I just come and got you, mate. And, you do beat yourself up. Like, it's that pride macho thing. And now I'm the first, like, yeah, I'm struggling, I need help. Can you give us a hand? Whereas back then, how old was I, 20? Yeah, no, until I had built up a job, built up a bit of money, worked that job, put new clothes on me. I was going into public toilets and washing. And until I could get back home by myself, now I come home and go, oh, no, we just split up, it wasn't worth it. We split up 4 months ago, and I've been living in my car. Yeah.
Mental.
Yeah, just a bit.
So I'm just trying to visualize serious mental health problems.
Yeah.
Was alcohol and drugs still an issue at this point?
Yeah.
So mental health issues,
yeah,
alcohol, drug abuse, literally like feeling like you're no use to anybody.
Yeah.
Living in the back of your car.
Yeah.
in a car park in Lancaster.
Yeah.
Where did you get the,
To sort yourself out.
yeah, where did that come from?
I don't know. See, I bounced, and again, Michelle summed it up nicely last night. I'm drawn. It sounds weird that I've got 10 people that I class as rocks in my life. Most of them are women. From my daughter's mum, my mum, my sister, Tracy, the owner of the beach. I know I could ring them straight away. And Michelle said to it yesterday, like, for me, it's that chase of, if it's a new partner, honeymoon period, excitement, and then as bad as it sounds and as much as it hurts people, I get bored, and then because of the way the head is, and then I bounce on. So for me, I got offered a job, which is it was the Mariners in Padstow. Is it Padstow? Mariners at Rock. Paul Ainsworth has it now. It wasn't him beforehand, and I remember ringing. They offered me this job while I was up there. So I came home for it once. I managed to sort myself out, and I rang my mum during it. My mum's, Yorkshire girl. They went, "Mum, they've asked me to make a Yorkshire pudding. How do I do this?" She said, "What do you mean? You've done it loads of times." I went, "No, how do I do it?" And she was telling me through it. And he walked in and went, "Oh, I thought you shouted at me. Mum's on speakerphone." I went, "No." Mum went, "What?" I'm like, "Shut up." So I got a good job offer, and then I thought, actually, let's put my focus into chefing. And I was trained myself.
So were you a chef before that?
No, yes and no. Like, coming from the campsite where the tackle shop and the lakes were, I accidentally fell into it. So I went up to get to their takeaway to get a probably burger and chips, and it was shut. I was like, "Why is it shut?" And they're just like, "Oh, no chefs had turned up." I went, "All right, I could do that." Again, it's that pride thing, I could do anything, me. And the manager, Adrian, was like, "No, you can't do that. You've told me I can't do that. I can do that." So I went in, don't get me wrong, I fed probably 10 people. They might have had to wait 3 hours. It came out, and went, "Oh, you did that, didn't you?" I went, "Yeah, done all right there." He said, "Back tomorrow." That was it. And then coming from the alcohol, the drugs, all of that, and then having a new focus. But what they don't tell you is when you train to be a chef or you work in the kitchen, drug abuse is the number one in hospitality, it's rife. It's the biggest industry that has a solvent problem. And when you're hearing that, you're like, "What? How? Just enjoy cooking." And then you see it and you're like, "Oh, that's why."
Is that because of the hours?
Yeah, some chefs, you're smashing 16, 18-hour days as standard. And then as a very young chef, I go, "Oh, when do I get my break?" They're like, "What? You don't get a break. If you want something to turn the saucepan upside down and quickly get the leftovers down your mouth and then get back on." And you're like, "Oh." But then it gets, it's addictive. But again, I've got quite an addictive personality. But yeah, drug and alcohol was always there, all through my early life. But I think just having that one phone call that said, "Look, you've got this chance. I want you to come do a trial." And I was in Lancaster, and I came straight down to Cornwall and went, "Yeah, let's do this."
How did that phone call come about?
I think for a friend of a friend, if I remember right. Like, he was KP in there at the time. So the most important job in the restaurant industry is the people that wash up. Couldn't do it without him. And he was like, "Yeah, my mate can do this." And he rang. I remember him ringing me. He's like, "I've told you that you run services." I went, "Wow, I come from a campsite." This guy it was Jason. I want to say his name was Jason, but he was the youngest chef at the Ritz for years. He wants to see me. What have you told him? "Oh, no." I walked in and goes, "Oh, only heard brilliant things about you." I'm like, "Oh, hence ringing mum."
So I'm assuming that he didn't know that you were living in the back of your car in a Lancaster car park at the time.
No, he thought I was just up country working.
And you rocked up, obviously impressed him.
Yeah, I got offered the position, which was really good. But no, I came back home because it was getting to the end of the season. I then went back home to my mum's. And then I moved down for good to Cornwall when I was 19 in the end, and then started from there.
Was that prompted by the job?
Yeah, it was prompted by. I didn't take that one in the end. I went back to the campsite because it was easy. I wanted to still have that being 22 years ago in Newquay for the summer was very, very exciting.
So that was being a chef at a campsite.
Yeah. So not really a chef, more like a cook there. And then I moved into the hotels, chefing in the hotels, and then got some really nice gastro pubs behind me. And then, just kept building and building and building. Like I say, I moved to Birmingham then and to try and chase the next restaurant, which was Two Rosettes, which was nice. Learning, I always go in at the bottom until later on in life where you feel like you've earned your stripes. And then, just kept chasing and chasing until I fell on my feet down on the beach, which was gorgeous.
What do you think these people saw in you then? Because it was clearly something that you couldn't see in yourself.
I still don't know that to this day. Like, people will tell you, you light up the room, you're this big, you run service, you run front of house, you bring everyone together, you literally nurture everyone. And in the back of my head, I'm like, well, I don't see that. And at the end of the day, I just want to be nurtured. I want someone to tell me that it's okay. Like I'm telling my people, your chefs underneath you, your family, you see them people more than you see your partner, see your own kids. And I was very good at I always wanted to take on projects, the wrong word. But the ones that had a crap life, the ones who were going through hell, bring into the environment. Because when you are in hospitality, you are in it. Like we were saying, the 18-hour days, like you see each other, and you can always see, right, he's not right or she's not right. There's something going on, and I always used to like that. But now looking back on it today, I think people saw that with me. Like they saw, oh, there's something not quite right there, but he can do this, this, and this. And I remember my first proper exec chef was a lovely man called Dave Bradeswell. He was the executive chef of Vistral Beach Hotel down in Newquay. And then I went in as just as a normal second chef, made up to sous chef, so the one under the head. And then the head chef left, and Dave came in. And I remember this other chef there going, oh, I'm going to be the head chef, I'm going to be the head chef. Dave walked in and went, I just let know Rich is going to look after the place now until we find a head chef. And I think I was just playing with the watermelons at the time. And I went, why? And he was just like, Rich, you could do this. I was just like, but he went, no, you are, and I was just like, oh, I must be okay. It's a 5-star hotel. And so just that one person in your life at certain times gives you that little kick.
It's funny, though, isn't it? Because you spend, the majority of the time throughout these years that we've been talking about, and you're telling yourself that you're useless, that you're rubbish, that you can't do anything.
Yeah.
But yet, it sounds to me like there are countless people that don't know you, that have met you and seen something in you and put their trust in you and, taken a risk on you and given you these opportunities. So it's not like that's just happened once. It's happened. It sounds like it's happened in time and time again.
Almost every restaurant I've gone into in the end, there's only been one, back to the campsite that me and the manager don't really talk anymore. Again, that's my fault, massively let him down, very drunk. And he always took a risk on me, and every year he'd say, like, Rich, one more chance. I was like, yeah, one more chance. And then at the, not even get to the full year, he goes, you let me down again, didn't you? Oh, yeah. We see each other, I say hello, massive respect for him. He was trying to put me on that right path, but I wasn't ready to go on it, if that makes sense. But then, you go to the next one and he sees it, and then you go to the next one and they see it, but then you get home and you don't see it. Like even yesterday, a few days ago, so I should be at Ellen Road now, cheers, Ant. I messaged you going, oh, are we still on? And a little bit of me was hoping you would go, actually, Rich, no, I don't think it would work, because in my head, I'd already gone, oh, this won't work. Who wants to listen to me? My life is just my life, it's not, and then you text back going, yeah, mate, all on. I was like, yeah, brilliant. And in my head, I was like, oh, God, okay. And then, I had a meltdown yesterday, day before. So even though you got all these people telling you, oh, you're brilliant, Jo, she's phenomenal. She champions me every day. And I'm just like, why? You know, so yeah, like you're saying, loads of people have seen it, but you don't see it yourself.
It's a strange, it's a
tiring,
strange
man.
thing. When you talk about letting the guy down at the campsite,
Yeah.
how did you let him down?
I've let him down so many times. So many times. The last time was literally August bank holiday. I was doing 2 jobs. So I handed my notice in at Lusty to the owner. And Tracy went to me, she went, "You're not leaving." I was just like, well, this bit of paper says I am. You know, I got a chance to open up my own sort of like franchise on campsite, just a fish and chip takeaway. You know, you're in Cornwall. I saw, again, going back to what we said, I saw the Manny signs. And she went, well, do both jobs. It's like, right, okay. At the moment, I was there. I was looking after the restaurant, the takeaway, the pizza bar, the restaurant, and the weddings. Obviously, with chefs, you know, we had loads back then. And she was like, "Yep, just come in, do your early morning, make sure everything's all right, get them set for the day, do till about 2:00, go home for an hour, then go over to the campsite." I was just like, again, I could do that. I couldn't do it. And then I got signed off. Like I was so close to being sectioned. So I went back down to the beach, not to work, just to sit there. But his partner it was beach rugby tournament, massive, thousands of people turn up. And obviously his partner, I think, took their son there. So she saw me at Lusty Glaze. So I think in his head then, oh, if he's down there, he's working. So he shut this on our busiest weekend to go there and work. And it wasn't like that. But I think after so many times of letting him down, you know, he saw that one clip and went, nah, enough's enough. You know, and even back in the day, like when I was drinking a lot and taking everything, like we've had major arguments, like screaming matches. Like I threw punches at him, and he's a big lad. Like he'd destroy me. He's like a bear, but he took it all and gave me another chance, and then threw it back, and another chance, and then this one was just the final. Nah, we're done. And I was like, okay, but I still see him because my mum and dad took over the shop on the lake. So when I go and see them, you know, he'd be like, "Right, Rich?" I'm like, "Yep, you?" He's like, "Yep." "Struggling for staff this year?" I'm like, "No chefs in Cornwall anymore, is there?" He was like, "Nope, next year." "Struggling for staff?" You know, so it's not that friendship what it was, you know. It's, "You all right?" So, yeah. Who knows?
Do you, it feels like there's quite a lot of regret from...
I don't do regrets. I never have done in my life. Until recently, when you reflect, yeah, that's one of my major ones. You know, he was a major part of my life. You know, there was a lot. I got 1 year when I left there and I went back to my mum's. I had Truro CID ring me, and they're like, "Right, there's been an allegation about you." Just like, what? And obviously I was drinking and everything else, and I went down to Cornwall. And he put me up. Obviously, it wasn't me, you know, CCTV and all that showed it wasn't me. So he supported me through quite a lot of troubling times. And like even now, he'll check in with mum and dad. "Oh, how's Rich doing?" You know? So, yeah, massively regret that.
Have you ever told him that?
I think I have, yeah. By email. Because that's the easy way, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, standing there and saying, accepting you're wrong. Don't get me wrong, I told him I was sorry. But maybe back when I did do it, I wasn't great. I wasn't in the right place. Yeah. So he always checks in. I said, you know, who knows, one day we might be able to sit on the wall and have a cup of tea. I love my tea. But yeah, it is what it is now.
Mm. So then where did you go from there? Like, you know, your kind of 2 jobs and then you know, let people, you know, how do you move on from that?
Go back to Lusty. So Lusty Glaze was amazing. Private beach in Cornwall. I had a great team. Yeah, some of the best chefs I ever worked with in my life. And don't get me wrong, I've been in, you know, rosette places. I've, you know, volunteered at some celebrity chef places to get experience. And there's something about Lusty that it's magical. The owner, she's there's not many people in your life that you would literally run through a fire for. Oh, I would die for this woman. You know, I see her as important in my life as probably my mum. She's picked me up so many times. She gave me a life coach. She used to let my psychiatrist come down to the restaurant, and I was on 3 visits a week at one point. And I was like, no, I'm working. They're like, well, we'll come to you. You know, and she arranged all of that. She facilitated. So did the ops manager, Andy. So yeah, I went there full time, and you know, 100 covers. I'll do it by myself. I love it. I love that rush. And then if I had a day off and it all went wrong, what I used to do is move the fridge around so nobody can get in the front kitchen. And I know, like, we're fully booked. I'm going to do this on my own. And afterwards, you can see there was 4 of you yesterday. And it's not that, oh, look at me. But part of it's that character. You know, inside, I was just like, I want it all to be quiet in here. But I'm going to prove to these guys that it can be done. And then, yeah, like, that place has saved me so much. So many times.
Do you think, like, you talk about, you know, loving the fact that you can do all this stuff on your own, and, you know, you'll do the work for different people. And to me, it kind of feels like it's a bit of a chaotic environment. So, like, it's obviously like a bit of chaos going on inside, but do you think that external chaos is what you kind of strive for, because
it numbs everything,
preventing the internal chaos?
Yeah, definitely. 100%. You know, my life is crazy. You know, when Joe goes, oh, shall we have a lazy day today? I'm like, you know, I dread it, but that's all I want. I want a lazy day. But yeah, no, you know, going back to a service, when you've got 100 customers out there and they want starters, mains, desserts, you know, that ticket machine's just going ding. You've got 4 people in the front with you. I remember, she's going to hate me for telling you this story, but I remember a young girl called JJ who came for an interview. And she was so nervous. I held her hand under the table. Literally, she was shaking. And it goes back to that, having them people in your life. You know, she would quite happily, like, when I'll go out, she'd be like, what are you doing? Stop. Just shut up. Just stop. And I'll be like, okay. And, like, that team then would know if I'm bad, because they'll come in and I've moved the kitchen around. And I don't mean like, oh, I'll put the plates out. I mean, I've ripped out all the cookers and the ovens, and they're now in different parts of the kitchen. And they walk in, well, Rich, it's bank holiday weekend, we're really busy. Why have you changed the layout? Well, I don't know. You know, so when the restaurant is in chaos and my head is, then everything else is chaos. And then when they get used to that, I'd flip it again and put it back to how it was. So yeah.
What do you think that was?
I have real bad insomnia. You know, I don't. If I have 3-4 hours sleep a night, then I've had a good night's sleep. And I think a part of it was, again, right, that one tiny thing isn't right in service. But be it that we have to walk 3 yards to the pass with a starter instead of 1 yard. So how can I come over that without taking down the walls? And it was all of that, trying to strive for perfection. You know, I remember at Lusty there was a small pass which people walk past, and you put the food up, service please, they come, but customers could see but couldn't see. I said to Andy, I went, oh, I want to lower it so people can look at, no, don't like that. I went, okay. But I want to lower it. And he was like, no. I went, okay. He was right, I'm on holiday now for 2 weeks. Any issues, see Tracy? I was like, yeah, all right. I lowered it, you know, and I put another one there. He came back, he's like, what have you done? I was like, well, I told you I wanted to. And it worked. And it made that service, you know, 0.5% better. And yeah, it's just, I don't know, it's all about just trying to numb everything. And obviously, like I keep saying, Emily's like 12 now. So for 12 years, I've done no drugs. I can't remember the last time I got heavily drunk. Oh, yeah, I do. Liverpool, Southampton in the cup. Horrible. But being up in Liverpool, Joe came, so it was a good night. But yeah, so something has to replace that. Like, I stopped the fighting because it hurts getting it now, doesn't it? Let's face it.
It does.
It hurts. I stopped the drugs because I wouldn't be with the woman I am now, and I wouldn't be the dad I am now. You know, I've stopped drinking because I don't like myself when I'm drunk. You know, my mum and family hate me when I'm drunk because I ring them and go, "I love you." You know, I'm one of them annoying drunks. You know, so everything's got to replace something.
Yeah, I think it's interesting you talking about like though, you know, you live in this internal chaos,
Yeah,
and you know you're constantly striving for perfection, and like you said, like even the 0.5% gains to you, that's worth a
massive.
lot,
Yeah.
which is a massive quality. So how do you kind of how do you kind of harness the chaos within your mind but keep that, you know, that kind of strive for doing better, strive for the 1% gains?
I think then you've got to look at, for me, I look at people in my life that I admire. You know, my sister now, paramedic, love her to bits. She's, in the work way, she's my champion. If I could be that person, you know, in that sort of job, I couldn't do it myself, you know. So I see bits that she's doing, and I take bits of that in her life. I take bits of other people and just work on that. I remember now. So Gordon Ramsay, next best chef, he filmed out at Lusty Glaze, one part of it, and I met him at, what's the name of that pub? Fisher's Pond on the corner down. I met him there 12 years ago, and I went over to him. I said, "Oh, can I talk to you?" He's just like, "Yeah, what's up?" And he was just out for dinner. And I talked to him about, look, I'm a chef, blah, 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 knowing at your standards. He goes, right, what do you need to know? I went, how do you stop the voicing, you know, how do you stop the mental health issues? How do you stop the drug abuse? And he told me a little story about his brother. He was obviously, you know, he had a big drug problem. And then 12 years later, he saw me down at Lusty, came over, go, how you doing, Rich? Just like, hello, mate. How do you know my name? He goes, do you remember when I saw you 11, 12 years ago? How's your head? And I went, what? What do you mean how's my head? How do you remember that conversation? And he told me exactly where we sat, told me a rat ran past. You know, so things like that, you know, I make an impact on people. You know, that's one. And then he checked in with me, well, his PA did, 6 months ago. Hi, Rich, how's the journey? Are you in a good place now? And then he offered me a job at his cookery academy just up the road from us. And I said no, because I didn't want a chef anymore. But, you know, so people in your life like that, you know, then I take things from him and then try and get that a little bit more. You know, don't get me wrong. How you see him is not how he is. He's the most gentle giant going. But then, you know, he checked in with me when he didn't have to, and he remembered that. So then, you know, I'll go and check in on one of my old guys down at the beach who had a horrible, you know, his head's worse than mine, you know. So I check in with him. So, like I was saying, you're drawing bits from people, you know, and if they reply, oh, cheers, Rich, I really needed that, you know, then that gives you that extra little 0.5%. And yeah, you know, I've let so many people down in my life over the years that you try and not be that person and be that person that they can go to. And then it's not redemption, but then it makes you feel, okay, I'm almost that person again now. I'm almost that person that people want me to be and who I want to be. But then something comes and kicks the feet out and you drop down a few percent and then you work even harder to get back up. So yeah, it's like you were saying, chaos is, I think that's what I'm used to now. And I think when I don't have the chaos, that's when my head spirals even worse.
How do you, like, when you're in that situation, like, how do you, you know, Gordon Ramsay's a massive star, right? He's like, must meet,
He's all right, isn't he?
he must meet hundreds of people
Yeah.
every day. So again, like, you know, you definitely make an impact on people, but what did you tell yourself when he came up to you 11 years later and checked
I
in
remembered,
with you?
yeah,
What did you tell yourself then?
that the owner, Tracy, must have told him my name and stuff like that. You know, I wouldn't give him the credit that actually he might have enjoyed talking to me them years ago. You know, because I'd almost forgotten about it. You know, because that was right in the depth of, I had a speed, acid, coke addiction, basically. So yeah, not that I made that impact for him to remember, but someone must have You know, when you see it in films, right, the chef says called this, he's got this wrong with him, this wrong with him. If you mention this, you know, but actually I should have taken it on face value.
Did you ask the person if they had said that to him?
No, his PA was great. She was like running up and, oh, Rich, can you feed another 10? No. Can you do this? No. And then like they brought their own chefs in to look in the to work in the kitchen. Oh, you're sharp, Rich. We won't need you. Oh, cool. So I'm just stood on the wall watching, and they're like, Rich, can you come and help? I'm like, yeah. You know, just help carry stuff and stuff like that. And then I remember he done this scene where he jumped out of the helicopter into the sea. Oh, I'm 40 foot up. Well, you're not. You're 10 foot off the sea, mate. And then he shouted across the beach and called me a lazy twat. Get back in the kitchen. And I was just like, oh, okay, mate. You know, it's, yeah. But like you say, like did I ask her? I don't think I did. But then we literally sat down in the restaurant and he was talking to me like me and you were talking. And then, yeah, that's nice. You know, looking back on it now, I should have taken it on the value that actually he remembered himself and, you know, I must have made an impact. And then for him to check 6 months later again, you know, it's massive for me that.
Did that help your mental health, do you think? Did you ever kind of reflect on that and like, you know, when you're telling yourself you're shit and you're useless, did you ever kind of look back at that moment and think, Gordon Ramsay's checking in with me, I can't be that bad?
Nah, because I'd see it as still like, even though I've probably now accepted the fact that it's face value and he remembered, even like once your head's going a million miles away, that thought doesn't come into it. Like you're thinking, actually, no, it was all for show. You know, the fact that nobody else was there, and then he came in in the back kitchen for photos and stuff like that. You know, yeah, I think a few people go out with me. You know, before I was with Joe, daughter's mum, my sister, and then Tracy from the beach. Never my mum and dad, because for me that's always admitting defeat, even though they've picked up the pieces so many times. You know, I remember there's a place in Cornwall called Pentire Headland, and Emily's mum works at Pentire Hotel. And I remember driving to the headland to drive off it. And that was a cry for help, because I remember driving off there once and I went over the wrong side and just dropped 10 foot into the car park. I was just like, oh, I've got to pay for my car to get recovered now. But the one that was a cry for help, and Michelle came running up the road. My mum and dad were there and everything else, and we were, you know. But she, Tracy, and my sister, they bring me in. You know, I know when I'm having an episode. I know my triggers now. So like, I'll ring my sister or I'll ring Michelle or Tracy now. She messaged me the other day going, "Hey chef, how's you?" And I was just like we haven't spoke. We used to speak every day. Like, we haven't spoken in a week, but she's still checking in. And Naomi was so Naomi works there. She's a wedding coordinator. You know, I've got her name tattooed there, Ginge. So whenever I'm feeling, you know, whenever I'm proper, I just go, Ginge, right, message her, you know. And yeah, I've got them people in my life, and that's who I'd pull to, not the Ramsay fort or anything else. I'll be like, oh, right, who can I ring? Who can I talk to? So yeah, that calms it.
So how often do these episodes occur, do you think?
What, now? So I came off my happy pills, so to speak, 6 years ago. I'm back on them now. Been back on them for 2 weeks because, yeah, my head was disgusting. We just moved house. We've got lots going on. Do you know them workout rubber bands?
Yeah.
So 2 weeks ago, my daughter was with me, actually. She walked in and asked me what I was doing. I put them around the metal girder around my neck, and that was it. I had enough. Like, I was literally, I'm done, you know. Didn't think the fact that my daughter was there, Joe's there, her kids are there. I was just in such a dark place, and I don't know what triggered that. It came from nowhere. Normally you have a slow build-up, but this one just came, fucked me. Didn't buy me a drink first, just destroyed me. And then Emily walked in and went, "What are you doing, Dad?" I went, "Oh, hanging up the punch bag." She went, "Oh, idiot," and just walked off. And I was just like, fuck, what am I doing? You know, and it goes back to that snow globe effect. Like, for that out of nowhere, all these thoughts. And then you might have seen the advert where it's really, really noisy and that person puts his headphones in and everything's calm. For me, as soon as Joe puts her hand on my, just on my arm or something else, it numbs it. Like, without her knowing, she's done so much for me. But nothing was working. So I went back on him 2 weeks ago, and it's slowly numbing it. But until then, they were calm. I'd have the odd one and two, like 1 or 2 maybe a month, but 3 or 4 a week. You have a real bad day and it's exhausting. The next day you're tired and lethargic. Next day you wake up arm fresh and then it comes again and it's just waves. Yeah.
Do you ever talk to Joe about it?
Yeah, sort of. So, quick recap on Joe. So we went to school together, obviously. She's one or two. She's a twin, obviously. I was in more classes with Lisa, and Joe was always this distant. She was my first ever love. I admired her from far because she was fit as in school, and she is now still as beautiful. But I could never tell her. You know that like you can admire from afar. Almost going back to the question about what success. So I'd always remember Tony's Orion. Not saying Joe's a car, but I'd always look at Joe and then this one day she was walking towards me. I go, I'm going to tell her. Don't know why. I thought I was big balls. She walked out. She went, "You right, Rich?" I went, "Yeah, you." And she walked off. I went, "Progress." So a part of me, yes, I do talk to her about it, but not massively because we've only been together now almost 3 years. I've waited probably my whole life to be with this one girl. Do I want to talk to her about it and look at the upset that I might cause her? Because we're back to that big macho. We're meant to protect her. And I opened up to her the first time she cried and I was just like, I can't do this. I can't make you upset. And she goes, and then it took me a while to understand she's not crying because I'm upsetting her or, us. She's upset because she doesn't want to see me go through it. And similar to when I was talking to you about doing this podcast, I think you messaged me back, Matt, I didn't realise anything about this because you put this mask on, don't you? I call it my clown face. Get up in the morning, put this mask on. So I'm getting better at talking. I'm the first one to say, I used to fight the biggest men going, not because I'm tough or good, but just because it was a numbing thing. I would do anything. Put me in a crowd of 200-300 people, I'd openly talk. Put me in a crowd of 30-40, I'll find my way out of it. Put me in a room talking about my feelings, not a chance. And it wasn't until I lost one of my good mates a few years ago. And it wasn't until that moment going, actually, it's okay to cry. Yes, you're a man. It's okay. Don't get me wrong. I know myself. Like, if I want to cry, I'll go home and put Marley and me on. Don't know why. Second one I don't like. The first one I'll be crying like a baby. Or I go on YouTube. When you feel that so pent up, I go on YouTube and put soldiers' reunions. When they come home to the kids, I'm done. I'll cry for a good hour. I'll come out of the bedroom and go, I've reset myself. So yeah, Joe always goes to me, right, how's your head today? I'm like, not good. And she goes, all right, do you want to talk? Not really. Okay. Do you want to go do this? Do you want to go do this? So she tries to distract it, which is really good. She wasn't telling her mum anything about us when we first get together. So I'm quite a skeptic with things. And her mum does card readings and stuff like that. And I was just like, shut up. So obviously Joe's not told her mum anything. She brought back the rope I used last to try and hang myself. She described the colour, the specs, where it was, what it was from. She brought back one of my mates that had passed that she knew nothing about. And I was just like, wow. Hold on, you know nothing about me and I'm going to marry your daughter. So we've got that sort of family now, which we all talk. Like Joe, like her mum will go, you all right today, Rich? And I'm just like, not really, but, we'll get through it. After talking to my dad the other week, that was massive release. Like, we almost lost my dad. He had a big heart attack. How long ago was that? 3 years ago, I think it was. I think it's called a tombstone heart attack, where he shouldn't be in now. He went up in the helicopter and everything.
Blimey.
And since then, he's changed. Like, not saying he looks like a frail man now, but he'll go to me, I had a shit day today, mate. And I'm just like, I've never heard you talk like this. You all right? He's like, yeah. He's got his dog now. He's my mate's dog. She doesn't like having a dog, but he loves him. But, you know, when I opened up to him the other way, I realised that I could have done this 20 years ago. Would I have been in a better place now? Probably. But again, it's going back to that macho pride place. So, yeah. The more I talk to different people, the more more people struggle with it than you actually realise.
You mentioned that losing a friend changed the perspective a little bit.
Yeah.
What was it about that changed your thinking?
For me, none of us are getting any younger, are we? Let's face it. You know, I've probably wasted 20 years of my life through stupid things, you know. I've got 2 failed marriages so far. There won't be a third fail. We get married this year, to be fair. Probably a bit addicted to it. You know, and again, Michelle summed it up yesterday, you know, the person that I've been for 35, 40 years isn't the real me. And yes, I've hurt people along the way, you know, just getting sucked into my relationships or through the violence or through the drug or alienating people or letting people down. But that was never me. That was, you know, the person I made up to try and be that person that people wanted. Well, if I just was myself, people would still have liked me. My mate was the brightest, loudest person in that room, but that was his personality. Met him 20 years ago at a footy match. Died in a car crash, rolled a car. And then you see the void that he's left, and you know, it gets you then thinking that you're not invincible, you know. And I think that was when I started reflecting. You know, I reached out to my exes and just said, look, I'm really sorry for everything that happened. I was, you know, this or that. And there was one that I couldn't reach out to for some reason. We've been separated for 11 years. And then she cheated on me. And I carried that with me, you know, and I was just like, so I messaged her going, was I just not good enough for you? It took me 11 years just to write that one line. And she went, no, you were fine. It was just we were toxic. You know, it wasn't you, it wasn't me, it was both of us. We just weren't right for each other. Yes, I shouldn't have done that, but I hope you're well. We WhatsApp now and then. She's on my Facebook, you know, she's on my Instagram. And every now and then she'll check in, you all right? I'm like, yeah. And it wasn't until I put that one to rest, I was like, right, my relationship demons have gone, you know. Yes, there have been some mistakes in my life, but I've spoken to them and I've made good.
Do you think that's helping? All of that kind of going back, reflecting, I guess...
It's almost redemption.
Yeah, almost trying to make things right.
Yeah, because, like I say, because I want to be this person that's, again, probably that fake person that everyone's liked. I want to go back and make sure everyone's all right. You know, instead of being this macho, I'll go fight him or I'll go there. I want to be that protector, and I want to make sure they're okay and she's okay, and yeah.
So, when you're in this kind of mindset, where you're just thinking nothing's worth it, where do these people that you're trying to protect, where do they disappear?
Yeah, the only thing you could think about for me is not being shit at it and actually having a successful attempt, you know? Yeah, it's a hard one to explain. Do you know when people say they get so angry they see a red mist? For me, I get so sad and so depressed that it's just, you don't see anything good. You know, you look at my life now, just about to have a restaurant, beautiful wife to be, gorgeous daughter, lovely home. I say nice car, I've got hers. You know, on paper it should all be, you know, 2.4 children. But behind that, it's just, some days it's just, it's just black and empty.
The 11 failed attempts.
Yep.
Do you ever reflect on those and think, look, I got to this place. I've been at this place 11 times.
Yeah.
And 11 times I'm lucky that I haven't, you know, succeeded in my attempt, and I've come out and I've done all right. Does that not ever feature?
I would say for what's normal, I'd say for a normal person, yes, that's what they would do. For me, it's just like, do you know that 1% gain that we were talking about before? What's different that I could do it and it'd actually work, you know? I do reflect on it now quite a bit, to the point that I could see people would miss me now. Whereas when I'm 6 years ago, 7 years ago, I wouldn't have seen that. So yeah, my mindset's changing now. I look back on it now going, I'm lucky. I say 11, like I said earlier, 5 or 6 of those were just private help. The mental health in this country, the help and support is absolutely shocking. So sometimes you have to take it to the extreme to even get noticed. And it's always almost that stigma. I've done 6 years without my happy pills. Why should I be on them now? Because you need to be on them. You know, don't give them up in a year or two. You know, you're on them. It's just one tablet in the morning. Does it do a lot? Don't know. Is it more psychological? Probably. But if it's keeping you from having a 12th attempt or your first successful attempt, just take the pill in the morning. It's got to a point now where Joe's like, have you taken your pill? I'm like, yeah. She went, no, you haven't. Here it is. I'm like, all right, cool. You know, so yeah.
Having that support network as well, I guess, is a bit of a game changer. Going from being in the boot of your car, in a car park hundreds of miles away from your family, to now having that, you know, it sounds to me like you've got a proper network and foundation.
I think I've always had it though, but now I'm accepting it, and that's a big difference. You know, like people will look at this and go, "Well, why didn't his mum jump in, or why didn't the family?" They did. You know, they've always tried, but until you're willing to accept it, you know, and let your walls down. You shouldn't have walls with your family, but unfortunately we all do. You know, there's probably some things that you won't want all of your family seeing, but you'll let a couple of people see. I'm the same. For me, I've always been, not the black sheep, but I remember, you know, my sister going through a hard time, you know, an ex bin, and I'll get my brother. You know, my brother being picked on in town, even though he's older than me, I call Rich. You know, there's an argument, Rich goes, you know, you've always been that person. But for me now, like, since MasterChef, where I spoke about it on there as well, if people want to know that I'm this, or see me as this weak, vulnerable person, so be it. You know, that stigma of me now is gone. I don't care. Like, you want to come and watch me cry? Sweet. You want to poke fun at me because I openly talk about mental health? Do it, mate. You know, but you're poking the fun out of it probably because you've got them demons. Instead of poking fun, just talk to me.
Do you know the irony of it though? The irony is that you have to have ridiculous mental strength to sit and do what you're doing and talk about it and be open about it. That mental strength's ridiculous to be able to sit there and do that.
Yeah, I think personally, as soon as you stop that fear of being judged, you know, I don't care now if someone wants to call me a wimp or if someone wants to call me whatever they want. It makes your day better, mate, go for it, you know. Fair play to you. As long as now you're having a good day, you know. But if that one person comes to me and go, look, actually, do you mind if we talk? Then I don't care if 100 other people call me whatever, because that one person's talked to me, and that one person is, you know, not saying I'm this hallelujah man, but that one person might then have a good day instead of being struggling like he has been.
Yeah, that's a great. It's a great way to be, and genuinely inspirational. Like, you know, it's like it takes a lot. It takes a lot to let your guard down and to be open and talk about the stuff that you're talking about.
It's just me, man, and you know, it's just my life, and like I say, if it helps someone, it helps someone.
Amazing. Let's talk about MasterChef because we haven't really touched on that yet.
Okay. So MasterChef, so it's basically like anything, you've got to apply. So I applied 10 years in a row, and before I put it out there, it's not an excuse. The 1 year that I got accepted, I think it was 2019, season 11, episode 4. You can actually see in the episode when I had my breakdown. I even now watch, like, so yeah, you have to, I'll touch on it in a minute. So you have to apply. The 1 year that I got through, it's the 1 year I shouldn't have applied for. And I remember going to Tracy going, I'm going to apply for MasterChef. No, you're not. I went, what? And the chef before me went on it, Nat Talent. She is my chef hero. You know, I got offered to work with her. I couldn't do it because I admire her that much. You know, like I turned to jelly every time I walked in the kitchen with her. And Tracy was like, no, it's no good for you, chef. I've seen it. I said, no, I'm going to do it, boss. I'm going to do it. She went, no, you're not. And I went to her, I went, Bosh, when you've done it, haven't you? Because, yeah, and I got accepted. And then you'll see a difference, like when do you know that scene when you walked in? You could tell I'm just like typical. It's the first time I've worn jeans, mate. You know, I'm a shorts man, no matter what the weather, and I'm walking in my shorts and my shirt. 26 stone, I think I was there.
Wow.
Yeah. And then, yeah, I just had a breakdown on TV. It was something simple like, what did I have? My skills test. So they split you into groups. So you don't know your skill test until you get into the chef. You got Marcus Waring, Monica and Greg Wallace. And I just looked at Greg. I think his face just reminds me of just a cartoon character. So I'm just like, yeah, they always say, don't they? If you're nervous, look at someone, imagine them naked. I didn't want to do that with any of them. So I was like, Greg Wallace, cartoon character. And Monica goes, right, little talk. And she goes, I had a chef tattoo here where Jigsaw is. You can still see the outline. And she goes, you got your... And I tapped him. And like, that was almost my good luck charm. As you can see, he's gone now because he didn't bring me luck. And I had to do a Scotch egg. Easy, you know. A year before, I was head chef at Jamaica Inn, and there were 400 or 500 a day, quail Scotch egg. And I'm doing it. And I froze. I literally froze, you know. What I didn't say is, day of the showing, the filming, 2 weeks prior, I think was my 8th attempt. You know, I was in a horrible place, and it's no excuse. No excuse. I don't do excuses. And I couldn't remember what doing. Greg Wallace saying, "You're right, chef." And I was just like, no. And then they edited it to say, you've had a master chef moment, chef. And I went, yeah, I have. But what they don't tell you, that cut, and for 10 minutes, mate, I was broken. Like, they were going to call it. So I came back and I seasoned it twice, you know, big handful of rock salt. She wanted 2 Scotch eggs. I gave her 1. And Monica goes, chef, I asked you for a Scotch egg. I asked you for 2 Scotch eggs. How many quail eggs did you cook? I went 2. She went, you need to make more. You had 6. I don't like wastage, so I was just like, you know, nah. And I think a bit of cockiness in there. Nah, I need to. I'll cook 2. I do them every day. Season it twice. And she goes, I asked you for 2. You gave me 1. And again, this louder than life character come out. I went, yeah, but it's a bloody big bull, isn't it? And she just looked at me, and straight away, you know, she hated me because you're not allowed to talk until they, you know. And Marcus went and tasted it, and just, nah, mate, sorry. You season it twice, it's unedible. Sorry, Greg Wallace. Marcus wouldn't eat it. But when you look at that now, they cut into it. It was the only one with a perfect outside, perfect inside, runny yolk. If I didn't freeze, not saying I would have gone through. And then the next one was your skills test. So I wanted to do like a seafood bouillabaisse, so basically a posh fish stew. But again, should have just kept it simple. But this extra thing in my head, I wanted to put lemon curd with it because it's citrus, and in my head it should work. Someone done it about a month ago on it, and they loved it. So I don't know where that comes from. But again, I froze. Didn't wash them clams properly. And then I remember someone in my own book, you can't even wash that, blah, blah, blah. I'm just like, mate, shut up, go away. So yeah, it was definitely an interesting point in my life, to the fact that I went to Morrison's a year later in Newquay, and I'm queuing up and this woman's looking at me. She went, I know you. I'm just like, I've never been that drunk. You right? And she went, you're a curd boy. And it's stuck ever since. Do you know what I mean? Like, even the boss bought me, Tracy bought me a mug with Scotch eggs, and it's just a running joke now. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, I don't regret it. I regret probably not pulling out of it, because you can't go on it again. You can only apply once. So, yeah, I regret the time that, you know, I should have had that in me to go, actually, you're not right. Now I would be, but back then I was just, I could do that. I could do 100 people. I could blah, blah, blah. So, yeah.
Did you learn anything from it?
Yeah, never go on TV again. Yeah, I did do, you know. After the filming, Greg Wallace was really cool. We chatted for a while. There's some really talented chefs on that one. It was brilliant. I learned to push yourself even more, you know, even though, and probably that helped me drive through quite a lot of things in my life. And to be fair, it has catapulted me a little bit. You know, I started up a private chef company where I was going into people's houses, and, you know, the old cheesy photo that you use, I can't use it now because of the difference, you know, and it's, so yeah, it helped me understand the pressure again of, you know, that high up Michelin star restaurants, which all of them probably are working in now. Do I want to do that? No, I like proper British food, you know, when you don't leave actually going wanting a Mackey's on the way home because you're starving. You'd rather have a massive tomahawk steak and, you know. So, yeah, it definitely curved my career away from that more fine dining.
What about looking back on from a mental health aspect? Like, do you ever watch that back?
I can't watch it. So one Christmas, we were around Lisa, Joe's sister's house with her family. So she's got a husband, daughter. And Chris, the husband's like, oh, should we put it on? And I walked back in and they're playing it. And I was just like, I can't watch it. And I tried watching it and I got a minute into it. So, like I say, season 11, episode 4. And I think I used to know, what is it, 27 minutes and 30 seconds. You see me have the breakdown. And a lot of people wouldn't admit it. You could see it in my eyes. You could see I'm done. And then I couldn't watch that. And then they watched it. I think I went out of the room. I might have sat in the kitchen. I can't remember. And then I watched it. I tried watching it 6 months later. And I got 5 minutes into it. I've never watched the whole thing, no. Because you can see I'm not right, you know. The filming they do beforehand, you know, well, Richard, executive chef on Private Beach in Newquay, they do that 3 months beforehand. I was in a good place, you know. I had a clean shave for the first time in years. I looked about 10. You know, I was in a great place. And then the filming came out and I was already in a bad place when it was on TV. And then I was suddenly getting people ringing me, oh, we're watching you, blah, blah, blah. And I think that's how Joe then followed me on Instagram. You know, I saw you on MasterChef, how are you? So, yeah, something good come out of it because Joe talked to me. You know, we hadn't spoken 20 odd years. So, and then, yeah, I don't think I could still watch it now.
Why? What was it that stops you watching it?
For me, you could see I'm not in a great place. And another reason, you know, I hated myself. I was fat, man. You know, I was just shy of 20. I think I was just over or just under 26 stone at that point, and you could see it. You know, you look at it now and you're like, how, that's not the same one. You know, I haven't smiled in 20 years because I had horrible teeth, not like now. These are my turkeys. You know, so yeah, it's like life changing. Your head's trying to get stronger, but then you physically try and get better, and yeah.
Do you think it would help you to watch that back and realise how far you've come since then?
No, because my head doesn't work like that. Like, I'd watch that and go, fuck, you were rubbish there, you're a failure at that now. And then that would give me another bad day. So probably when the tablets are better in your system, you know, because I can't look at something when I think it's any job. Do you know when you go for an appraisal and you first start and you're a bit ropey and they go, right, so you've come on. What do you mean I've come on? So was I bad? Why was I bad? Not like, oh, I don't hear you've come on and you're really good at this now. But when you started, I'm like, well, why was I bad there? You know? So I'd look at that and go, why didn't I kick 6? Well, I should have done 6. Why hadn't I done... Yeah.
But even the physical aspect of it, could you not watch it back and go, geez, I've done well?
I could watch it on mute, probably. Physical, yeah, no, like I said to you this morning, I was getting dressed and the one jumper I couldn't put on. I bought it and it was too tight. Do you know when the jumper doesn't, and it's just like, nah, I can't. I'll put it on. I can't wear it now. It's too. She's probably already got it on fitted. To be fair, she does that with all my clothes. So yeah, that aspect's good. We went to. I don't know if you remember her brother Chris. Yeah. So we went to his wedding over in Florida. I couldn't wear a t-shirt. You know, I was in a jumper. Even though in the filler, it was only me, Joe, and her kids, Emily, Lisa, her husband, and their mum and dad. Never wear a t-shirt. If I went in the pool, I'd have a t-shirt on. I was always in my hoodies, you know. I haven't worn a t-shirt out of the house in like 20 years because I hated the appearance. Joe's never seen me naked. Can't do it. Never seen me without a top on. 3 weeks ago, I took the top off, stood there, I go, what do you think? She went, you've changed so much. You know, so yeah, I'm getting better on that now. Which is good. I think for me, it all started when I done a sponsored 100-mile bike ride, like not in one go, it was 100 miles in 1 month, and raised money for blood cancer because Tracy has got leukemia. So we were doing that together, and we would do it like we'd finish service, then we'd go out on a bike ride, do the Camel Estuary with her friend Amanda, and then it was brilliant. When I only had like the home stretch to go, all of the Lusty crew came out, and we all done it together. and like champagne popping up. What they didn't know is we'd stop halfway in Padstow, have a beer, turn around and come back. So that's really kick-started the journey, do you know? So yeah, what am I now? I'm a stone away from target. My stone, if I lose another stone, it was the weight I was when I left school in 99. I've never been that weight ever since. And if I do that, then it would be just over 11.5 stone I've lost.
Jesus.
Yeah.
How did you do that?
I've done 4.9 stone since January.
Jeez.
Yeah. I think a lot of it's stress, and a lot of it is, that motivates you. And a lot of it is, she'll hate me for saying it, like I think, I wear my heart on my sleeve, like I think Joe's perfection. And that's nothing against my other relationships. They've all been great for me at that time. Joe's that person that calms me, anchors me, supports me, drives me, makes me want to be this better person. And even if it's like she's painting the kitchen cupboards at the moment, right? But even with her hair tied up in a messy bun, glasses on, painting clothes on, she's perfection for me. That drives me. I want to be the best version of myself for myself, but also someone that she could be proud of. And I make her proud every day. She tells me that. And then I bought a Peloton bike. Best thing I've ever bought in my life. Peloton. And you can set where you go. So I've been all around the world on it. And then when we moved, we got a double garage now. And I've got this addictive personality. So I bought a multi-gym that her son uses as well. And he's getting there. Bought a running machine. I've done a half marathon. I think I was chatting you up for trainers. I do? I done no training for that. Didn't do anything. And I think I just wore my normal Nikes off the shelf, literally. And we rocked up. My sister was just waiting for back surgery through a work incident. Jeez. Joe's fit anyway. She used to run, but she was like, right, we walking this. We're like, yeah, walking it. The whistle went. Everyone started, we ran. Yeah, I haven't run since the blue lights used to be behind me. And, you were saying, right, Rich, start doing a K, then you do 2. And by all means, I was like, yeah, Ant, I'm going to do that. No, I didn't do anything. And then out of like 60-odd thousand men that run, I came like 32,000. And I was just like, how? Yeah, I might have nipped off a mile by cutting a corner, but how did I do that? And I finished it. And then that drove me on. Like I say, it goes back to that addictive personality. So in the gym now, we've got a punching bag. I love it. I go, I do 10 minutes on that. 32 seconds later, you're like blowing out your heart, going, I'm done. So yeah, no. To the physical side, I'm liking, and I'll push myself. I'm on the carnivore diet now, which Joe hates because everything's butter, meat. And if she could go veggie, she'd love, tomato, she would. But why she's having, what did I do the other day? Really nice toasted tomato and feta, bruschetta, wild garlic. Don't know why I'm chef mode. And now I am just going on tomahawk steak. Like, how'd you do? She went, lovely. Yeah. But yeah, no, it's good. I'm loving it. It's good. Yeah.
Have you found that that kind of health and fitness journey has helped your mental health?
Yeah, it releases so much into you. And I think with someone with an addictive personality, I think if you could switch it to a healthy addiction, it's brilliant. If someone goes to me now, we're having a few beers, do you want a bag? I'll be like, no. I want to be home at 9 o'clock with a cup of tea watching EastEnders on iPlayer.
Yeah.
I saw you at the footy match the other night with Wayne. That's the latest I've been out in a while, man. I got up the next day, I wasn't that good. And then it was just like my mate was having a party. He's like, you coming, Rich? I was like, no, mate, I love you and everything, but no. And I'm now that person that if we go out for dinner, me and the partner, me and Joe, we were literally like, I'll drive. She's like, you sure? I'm like, yeah, I'll drive.
I think it is. You end up in a bit of a vicious cycle, don't you? Because I think my personal opinion is, and I might be wrong, but I think the majority of people suffer in some way, shape, or form with mental health.
Yep.
Some people suffer a lot more than others.
Yep.
But I think, we all have days where we wake up and we don't want to face the world. I just want to put some sunglasses on, a baseball cap, put my hood up. I don't want to speak to anyone.
Yeah.
I think those days are more regular for me when I've been out and drank alcohol. I think that, and that could be 3, 4, 5 days later, or I haven't exercised. If I go through that period of no exercise, not treating myself very well.
Yeah.
been out on and drank too much,
Yeah.
I think that I've noticed a pattern that really heavily contributes.
Yeah, it's not even the next day.
No,
It's
no.
like a week hangover. And
Yeah.
that's not because your head's fobbing, it's because your body's just like, what have you done? I'm one of them people that if I feel uncomfortable and we're in a group setting, I would then drink and drink and drink and drink. A couple of New Year's Eve ago, and it wasn't because I felt uncomfortable. It was because we went round Lisa's house for New Year's Eve. People came and everything. There wasn't that many people there. And it was because I felt nervous about being in that environment because it's been that many years. I openly talk about my issues. So, people might judge, they might not. So I smashed that much. I passed out on their kitchen floor, literally. And for me, that wasn't like, oh, let's get drunk. It's New Year's Eve. It was like, let's finish this. Let me just sleep and let me just hibernate here. You carry on with your night. I was literally on their floor, fast asleep. And but now I'm in that scenario. No, you've accepted you suffer. You accept people suffer. You accept people then have different ways of coping. Let's understand it. Let's help. So that then goes back to the addictive personality, the chaos, and actually thinking, well, are you okay? So yeah, like you were saying, that circle. So yeah, it might have been 10 years later, but I was back in that circle of let's get drunk, let's numb the pain, let's sort it out in the morning, let's go again. Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite frightening, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, I've got some questions for you. I'm going to fire at you. If you could put a label on the 3 things that have got you to where you are today, so ready to exchange on your own restaurant.
Yeah.
Still fighting your mental battles, but in a significantly better place to where you were, 10 years ago or so. What are the 3 things that you think have got you to where you are?
Family. And when I say family, that's friends as well. People in my life are my family. Acceptance. Then that could be people accepting you, or it could be me starting to accept my past, accept the fact that I had issues, and the fact now that I'm owning it. And I'd say reflection. Reflect where you went wrong. What could you have done better? Try not to beat you up too much, even though you do. And I'm going to put a 4th out there, sorry, mate. Accepting when you were wrong, and owning that mistake.
What would you change if you could change one thing? What would that be?
Not speaking sooner. Not accepting that, that line at the moment. It's okay not to be okay. It doesn't matter if you're suffering, but just don't suffer in silence.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really powerful message, right? And going back to when you were in that place, right, where you were this kind of, this macho kind of ego that we all have.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to somebody that's at that stage now, that is feeling the way you felt 10 years ago, that doesn't want to talk because they've got too much pride?
Yeah.
If you could go back 10 years, what would you tell yourself?
For me, the hardest thing is talking to the people that you care about and who care about you. So if you follow, say, a random on Instagram, if you go into my DMs now, the girls, I see what girls he's messaging. I got a message to Tyson Fury from 9 years ago going, mate, can I just talk to you? Listed it all and sent it. I knew he'd never get back to me, but I got it out of my head to someone that is a complete stranger. And for that minute, it felt okay. So speak. And if you can't speak to someone you actually know or you actually care about, my box is always open. Do you know what I mean? Pickle Kitchen on Instagram. Just send me a message. You don't want me to reply, put do not reply. Use me to vent. use me to talk. You know, I'm not saying I'm this guru. 9 times out of 10, I've been there. You know, I've done it. I've hidden the things that you're trying to hide. I've painted that clown face stuff. I sniffed what you sniffed. I've smoked what you smoked. Yeah.
Do you think that typing those messages out is a form of almost therapy? Because although you're not actually speaking to anyone, you're actually processing the thoughts that you've got in your mind, and documenting them.
Yeah, like I said to you right at the beginning, you know, I said I opened up and I sent my dad this message. I deleted it straight away because for me, again, everyone's different. I'd go back and read that and go, you're so weak. You're so weak. So if I can't see it again, then I won't overthink it. So I'd say, I always say, write it, delete it. Once you've written it, to get it out, you know, really good one, really quickly. Tracy said to me, my head, do you remember them old-fashioned libraries where they pull out a file of facts and it just keeps going and going and going? That's my head. Pull it out, and I could have a memory from 25 years ago that's out there, but as soon as I open up the drawer and it all goes everywhere, that one memory that I grab hold of is that one from 25 years ago. And it's just there now, and that's all I'm thinking about. But if I'd written that memory down and then deleted it, if I pull open the drawer again, it can't jump out. So I always write it, delete it. That's why when Joe goes, can you write everything down? I'm still like, no. Because I know in my head, I'd see it and then I'll reflect on it. So write it, delete it. Notes on your phone. I've got loads. But they're all good now. Whereas they'll all be like, oh, you shit, you can't do this, can't do this. They're now deleted. And when I need to rant, I rant on it and then delete it.
Yeah, that's a really powerful message. Really powerful. And yeah, I mean, definitely something to reflect on for sure.
Yeah, I like that one. That's what I do.
What is next for you?
Next is completing, like we said, on the restaurant.
What's the restaurant called?
It will be called The Pickled Kitchen. And then I put planning permission in for an outdoor kitchen. And the bank manager of NatWest of Epsom, brilliant bloke, Chris, he does a lot of podcasts and charity walks. He's wanted to claim the rights of naming the outside one, so he's named it The Little Pickle.
Brilliant.
Because I had to get a load of paperwork filled out, and he goes, oh, you're getting yourself in a pickle, you are. Just calm down. You know, and he does men for mental health walks. Brilliant bloke. So, yeah, he's named it The Little Pickle. So, yeah, hopefully any day now we'll get the keys for that.
What's the plans for it?
Same as anything, you know, the previous owners have done it beautiful. But what I've got to do is, like we were saying at the beginning, stop them 100 ones to start with. I just need to change the layout. Like we were saying when I used to move the kitchen around, it has to work. So where the coffee's made now, I want to turn that into an open kitchen, almost so when people walk in, go, oh, hello, chef. You know, because we're cooking your food, but I want to be out in a restaurant. I want to see your face when you take that first bite. But also, if you've got a problem, I want you to come up and speak to me, not moan at the 15 or 16-year-old waiter or waitress. Come talk to me. We'll own it. You know? So, yeah, just move it all around. Yeah, just get that excitement going again.
In terms of in terms of your mental health, what are you know, where do you see that improving and continue? What are you doing to kind of make sure that keeps improving?
Yeah, totally. So learning to talk to Jo more. You know, the look on her face isn't disappointment, it's a look of care. Now I can talk to my dad a lot more, and that's not because we couldn't, it's just because of that macho man image. Like I say, my sister, I always talk to her 100%. It's just reaching out to people now. But not reaching out because I need them for something, you know, reaching out because there's that genuine respect, mutual friendship, like they would do it to me. It's just talking, you know. And I used to hate that. And then Tracy had bought me a book going, Who Moved My Cheese? Best book ever for anything, not just mental health, but you can read it 10 times and 10 times you'll get a different meaning. No matter what your mindset is, you know, it's all about, it would help you with business, it'll help you with your life journey. Yeah, it's brilliant.
What's it about?
It's about a mouse who everyone keeps moving his cheese and he doesn't understand why. It's brilliant. It's on Amazon. It's about £3. And what I've done, I've lent it to so many people, but every time I lend it, I'll put a message in it. And then I say, send it back when done, and they'll put a message for the next person and for the next person.
Oh, that's cool.
So that's full up now, but yeah, recommend that book to anyone.
Awesome.
Make sure you buy it.
Yeah.
It's brilliant. It's literally brilliant.
I'm going to have a look at it.
Yeah.
I'm quite into books at the moment.
Yeah, I am. I used to have a reading chair and everything in the old house. Loved it.
Yeah. I found that my mental fitness for readings dropped a lot since audiobooks came out. So I had a guest on the last podcast
Yeah.
that's an author, and I'm reading his book.
Yeah, see, me and Joe were talking about this the other week. I've gone off music. Music used to be my thing, like everything. Like I love country, I love drum and bass, I love everything. And I don't know if I'm getting old now or not, but I listen to podcasts in the car. You know, I said that you and Andrew McCaskill's one when I was driving down to Cornwall. So many points of that hit home. And then driving in here this morning, I was listening to LBC on the radio. It's just like, when did I stop? But then I think it's part of growing, isn't it? You know, you're hearing loads of other different views on it, and then you get home and it's, yeah. So I'm more into the podcast now than, you know, a dirty bass line.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
I think, like you say, it comes with age, doesn't it? Like, you
Yeah.
know, you get to a point where, I think you value growth more than
Yeah,
you did
100%.
10, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
So,
But then if you value growth 10, 15 years ago, you'll be in a different way where you are now.
yeah,
You know, I don't regret my life. I don't regret my journey. If I could change it, I wish I was happy, you know. I'm learning how to be happy. I don't think I've ever been happy in my life. So yeah, I regret, and I could, if I could change that bit. But looking back on it, you know, I think I've made peace with people I've upset. I think I've done the right things in life now. So yeah, I wouldn't change much, but I definitely now, like you say, the growing. I think I've only just started, and once you get to accept that, it's quite a hard journey to go on, because you're literally looking at yourself in that mirror, and just like, right, what can I do better? But yeah, no, growth is definitely. Yeah.
it's quite funny actually how you've just sort of said that you feel like you're only just starting on your growth journey.
Yeah.
I think from my perspective, it's pretty obvious that you've been on this journey for the last 20 odd years. You know, coming from where you've come from to where you are now. I mean, it's like, I can't even put into words. How much respect I've got for you. Coming from where you know, I keep referencing it, but living in a car in Lancaster car park.
It was a nice Mondeo though.
Was it? But I mean, like, you know, for me to find the strength to get up, get yourself back into work, and then, you know, end up in the situation that you're in, talking about your mental health, helping other people through it, getting married to the girl of your dreams, buying yourself your own restaurant. It's unfathomable, really, when you think about it. How does a guy that's living in his car boot end up in this situation?
Just want to make people proud, man. Do you know what I mean? Like if I die 2 years down the line, and you know, it's all that saying in it that people, you want to see what people say about you. You know, my family, my world. You know, I want my sister to look back and go, oh, I'm so proud of you. You know, me and my brother have got a relationship where it's like we don't talk for like 6 months. Like, yo, mate, do you want to go fishing in France? Yeah, sweet. You know, I talk to my sister probably daily. You know, she's so inspirational. And for her, Tracy, my mum, Joe, just to turn around and say, I'm so proud of you. You know, I don't see it like you're saying all that stuff to me, and I'm just like, yeah, mate. You know, but in here, I'm just like, just here talking, man. Do you know what I mean? Like, I've seen you a few times at football. You know, I haven't really seen you since school. And now we're sat here doing this. And to be fair, it's been quite deep. So sorry if it's too deep. But do you know what I mean? It's just like, and then it goes back to that growth. You know, I see it now because I'm stable. Probably in a week's time, I'll look back, oh, actually, that was right. That journey is, you know, quite cool. But right now, like, I'm not, you know, I wouldn't, yeah.
Well, I'd be really surprised. You know, I don't know your family. I obviously went to the same school as Joe, but I haven't seen her for years. But
Hasn't changed. She's still stunning.
I'd be really surprised if they thought different to me. You know, that you know, to step back and look at where you've come from to where you are now. You know, I can't see that anyone would think any different, and it's only you that's not processing it. But yeah. I mean, I hope, you know,
it'll come in time.
Yeah, I genuinely hope it does, because I think that, you know, you're a stronger man than most, and to go on that journey and end up where you are now. I mean, you know, I didn't even mention the alcohol and the drugs. the fact that you've gone through that journey on top of that, and the weight loss on top of all that, you know, I think, I mean, Jesus, you've achieved more than, you've achieved more than most people I know. You know,
I see it like when Tracy checks in, it's day by day. Yeah, today's a good day. Yesterday was a bad day, and all I hope for is tomorrow's another good day.
Yeah, well, I mean, I hope that on the bad days you can, you know, you can reflect and you know, just understand and believe, you know, what everyone's telling you, because, you know, genuinely, I'm not telling you this to be nice. Yeah, no. I'm telling you this because it's a fact. It's true. But yeah, like, you know, it's been amazing talking to you.
Yeah, no, it's been good.
Really appreciate you coming on. Really appreciate your openness. Yeah, you know, like I said, I've always, you know, respected you, and we've always, you know, got on really well. Yeah. But I think, you know, just chatting to you today, there's definitely a newfound respect. And
cheers, man. It's appreciated.
I'm really looking forward to people hearing this as well. I think it's going to help a lot of people. I really do.
I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, no, if it helps, it helps. Do you know what I mean? It's just, hopefully I can watch it back, not like a MasterChef one. Yeah, no, you're right. You're 11 stone lighter now, so you're good. Yeah, man.
Where can people get hold of you?
My Instagram, Pickle Chef. And then it will be the picklekitchen.co.uk as soon as we open the doors. And literally on my Instagram's my phone number. Like, anyone struggling, want to drop me a message. Anyone want to reach out, drop me a text. You know, like you see today, I am an open book. I don't mind admitting anything, don't mind talking to anyone. Amazing. And I look forward to coming to the new restaurant and having a bit of lunch at some point. I'll treat you. Nice one. That'll make it even better. Yeah, nice. All right, brilliant. Cheers, Rich. I really appreciate that. Cheers, buddy. Thank you. Yo, check it out. It's the Grind Diaries podcast where we share all our hustling stories. Yeah, from the struggles to the grind, we spill it on the mic, so sit back, relax.